Even though it's too early to judge, but I have to say that this last trailer was exactly what I needed to see. I know you noticed some of the things I did, especially if you are a die-hard Silent Hill fan. The trailer opens with an atmospheric soundtrack and shots of Silent Hill. The game's atmosphere is really amazing. It perfectly captures the feeling of classic Silent Hill games. This series, with its legendary composer Akira Yamaoka, who inspired me to become a composer myself, holds a special place in my heart. And as you can hear in the background, I've remixed the song True in honor of this remake. After a few lines of dialogue, we see James walking in Silent Hill, and then we come to the first encounter with the lying figure, which sees some changes in how it's introduced and the location where we met it compared to the original game. These changes are definitely not a bad thing. It's good to see some minor variations to add some variety to the experience. Personally, I don't have any problem with the game's animations. This unusualness of the animations has always been one of the characteristics of the series and one of the reasons why Silent Hill 1, 2, 3 were so creepy and scary. The combat still seems a bit clunky. I hope it gets better by the time the game is released, but since this is a survival horror game, it's not that important, at least for me. And if you disagree with me, I have to say that the best Silent Hill games never had great combat, but they were still incredible games. It's no secret why the series went downhill after it left Japan. Western studios definitely improved the combat and animations in those Silent Hill games. Homecoming and Downpour come to mind, but were they actually better Silent Hill experiences? Absolutely not. Silent Hill was never about blasting every monster you see. In a true survival horror game, combat is the last option, not first. Don't get me wrong, a good combat system is important. For me, the weapon sound design and animations in this remake could still use some polish, but the bottom line is, if this game wants to be a masterpiece, it needs to capture the essence of Silent Hill, not Resident Evil. Combat is the last thing we should be concerned about. The attention to detail in the environment seems great. It seems that there are items in the environment that we will have to work hard to find and explore the environment well, which is a very good sign. James marking events on the map is a great thing, like the original version. It will definitely help with better navigation and remembering what happened during the game. Of course, I hope the game doesn't help us too much in finding paths and items, because it will definitely hurt the survival aspect of the experience. I really liked Laura's character and her voice acting, but when we get to the hospital, we see Maria, and she's not what I expected. It seems that Maria's characterization is going to undergo some changes in this remake, because the only character who has had a visual difference so far is Maria. The rest of characters are wearing the same clothes. Maybe Maria's character will change throughout the game, but so far I don't think she's playing the role she was supposed to, which is a different side of Mary that James always wanted to see. What struck me about the first encounter with the nurses was that it seems like we won't have a lot of ammo for the guns, which I think will help a lot with resource management. It will make us take the risk of using melee weapons or even skip fights in many places. That's great. And for the puzzles, what worries me about them is that they might be simplified. I hope there's at least a level of difficulty for the puzzles like in the old games. But so far from what we have seen in the trailers, the game seems faithful to the original in terms of puzzles. And finally, the Hangars boss fight. Well, I don't know what to say about boss fights in general. Silent Hill boss fights have never been well designed mechanically. Any improvement in terms of gameplay for the boss fights would definitely make me happy. I hope we at least have some decent boss fights. Overall, I hope this remake can at least restore some of the franchise's credibility. I know it's very difficult to live up to the original game, but the very effort to stay true to the original is commendable. Silent Hill is over for many fans, and if this game can deliver even a fraction of what fans want, which is a true Silent Hill experience, then the series is over. Of course, Konami has definitely made an effort to make the games accessible to modern players by changing the game's camera and some other elements, but I don't know what the outcome will be. The atmosphere is amazing, the art design is great, the combat is not bad, the cutscenes are acceptable, some of the changes in character design are not very interesting, but overall I hope this remake brings Silent Hill back.